Do you have any physical limitations?
A few. Oh my God. We're hitting to a target. That's where our energy needs to go, as opposed to the ball.
So the fastest part of your swing is in front of you.
Good.
Have you been craving an adventure that goes beyond the typical tourist experience? What if you can truly connect with the destination, unearth its hidden stories, and meet the people who make it tick? The ONSC podcast offers you exactly that.
This isn't just a travel podcast. It's an invitation to connect with a place on a deeper level.
I'm Colby Gonsalves.
I'm Jessica Pickering.
And I'm Karen Applin.
And this is the ONSC podcast.
All right, and we're back with another episode of the ONSC podcast. We're here at the beautiful Topgolf, as you can see. And I'm excited because we're joined by the legendary Seminole State women's golf coach, Coach Christa Teno. Coach, it's a pleasure to have you. I think this is the first time on our podcast at all.
Yes.
We had you on Hot Shots before.
Yes.
Which with one of your players, I can't remember her name right
Jane.
now. Jane, yes. How'd you do after that show?
I was a little uncomfortable for 2 days.
It happens. It happens.
I've
Yeah.
been back to the shop though, so it's
Dino
awesome.
kills me whenever we go there with the hot sauces, so I know exactly how you feel. Wanted to kind of dive into, your coaching experience and all that. But before we start, I wanted to ask you something we ask all our guests, which is tell us something that, the general public may not know about you. Something unique. Like, I usually say I'm a twin, right? Most people don't know I'm a twin.
No, I don't know that.
You know,
What is unique about me?
Yeah.
I'm the oldest of 8 kids.
8 kids, okay.
Yeah,
that's a lot of siblings.
That's a big thing. Yeah. I was changing diapers when I was 4.
Are you the oldest
I
one?
am the oldest.
All right.
Yeah.
There we go. So you were a golfer. Now you've gone to coaching at Seminole State College. Kind of tell us, how did you get into golf? Who inspired you, or who told you, you're going to play golf? And
I started golf when I was 12, which back in, what year was that? 1974.
wasn't that long ago. Yeah.
There were not a lot of little girls playing golf. So quite honestly, the women of my generation have a really cool story to tell. There were still restrictions as far as women and when they could play golf. Juniors were not allowed on the golf course as well during certain times. So there was a lot of that kind of stuff to overcome. But my Uncle Bill, who lived across the street, he was actually my dad's uncle, so he was my great uncle. He was a crazy good golfer, and so was his son Tony. So I played every sport. In fact, we had practice with softball yesterday, the golf team. I don't know if you saw that, but softball, baseball was my first love. Okay. And I honestly thought that I would play in the major leagues. My first goal in life was to be the first woman in the majors. But Uncle Bill, I would shag balls for him, and one day he came out with a cut down 8-iron. The grip was black electrical tape, and the first swing I ever made, the ball went soaring through the air. I had a beautiful follow through, and he looked at me, his eyes lit up, and he said, "You're gonna be my golfer." I played softball and baseball for our men's travel all-star team, and I played golf all at the same time. Eventually, my father, when I was 16, said, "You gotta pick something." And about that time, I started hearing that some of my older peers were getting golf scholarships. That was not available for softball yet. So I decided golf would be a great opportunity. to go to college. I was the second person in the Teno family to get a college degree after my cousin Tony. So 8 kids, my father told us, kids, figure out how you're paying for college because you will all go, okay? But I can't afford it. I didn't know how good I actually was. Leaving Canada, I knew that it was a pretty small pool. By the time I was in my junior and senior year, I was playing a lot of really good golf, winning college events. And I made the decision as a senior that I would turn pro. And I had 12 years on tour where I was able to pay my bills, which is a big damn deal. I did not have sponsors. I did not come from a rich family. So I lived from week to week. I had some real generous people in my life help me out here and there. Not a lot of money on the tour. I think I finished second on the money list on the what's now the Epsom Tour. It was called the Futures Tour when I was out there. I finished second on the money list, and I think I made $16,000. That was it.
Wow. I mean, but at that time, it's probably a decent amount.
It was. I think I broke even that year.
Okay.
It was crazy. So I played my last couple of years pretty injured, pretty beat up. Not really knowing what I was going to do, so I kept playing. And in my off seasons for the last 5 of those years, I was teaching. And I found out that teaching was more of my calling.
Okay.
I just dug it.
So that's how you made the natural transition to coaching.
But the coaching job came available. I was teaching the AD, the athletic director at Seminole State. I lived in Brevard County, and so did he, and I taught him and his kids and his best friend and his best friend's kids. And he told me, I think in 2005, that he wanted to start a women's golf program. And I said, oh, that's great. And he said, and I'd like you to apply for the job. And I said, no way. I said, those people, they don't sleep. It's 24/7. I said, I come and go as I please. I do what I want. I have my own schedule. I make a pretty good living. No. Well, he badgered me for a year. And when the job finally opened, he said, please submit your resume. And so I put it together, submitted my resume, went through a 2 or 3 interview process, and I'll be damned if he didn't call me and say, oh, Christa, guess what? You got the job. And I remember I was walking my 2 dogs in the neighborhood, and as soon as he said I got the job, my stomach did a somersault. And I said, oh, my life just changed. And indeed it did.
I mean, just listening to your story, it sounds like you're a bit of a trailblazer.
Well, you know, there are a lot of stories that me and my friends sit around and we talk about. I mean, my kids could not believe that we would get on the road without a cell phone. If we needed to find out or check in, or we had to find a payphone. We kept quarters. We had maps, paper maps. Rand McNally was our best buddy. It was on my front seat. I traveled everywhere in my little Mazda B2000 truck. I put almost 300,000 miles on that thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm a millennial, 36 years old, but I remember driving up to Michigan with my mom. I'd sit in the passenger seat, and I had the road map, and I was the one that, guided us to Michigan with the road map. Yeah, it was very different. And then we had MapQuest, and you just go type it in and print out the directions, and now you just turn on your phone.
Yeah, where's my phone? Crazy.
It is. So I wanted to go back and real quick ask you a question, because you said you played every sport. Now, I'm really curious, since you're from Canada.
Yes.
You know, the most famous sport, I would say, hockey, but also curling. Were you a curler? No?
I didn't have curling is it's a sport for people who have a little more money and a little more leisure time.
Gotcha.
So it was not a sport for everyone, although I was not a country club golfer. All the country clubs had curling, and I have friends that are curlers on our Canadian national team. I mean, it's a big deal. But no, I played hockey. In fact, Tony, we lived across the street from Uncle Bill. It was all Teno land, you know. Anyway, Tony built a rink every year, and I was goaltender. And I don't know if any of Timmy Kerr played center for the Flyers. He was one of the guys that I took slap shots from. So yes, I played hockey growing up, but organized hockey for girls was not available.
I wanted to talk about your program at Seminole State College. 5-time NJCAA National Championship.
Very good.
Tell us, what does it take to run that type of program and to, win that many titles as a program?
Well, I knew from the beginning that I don't like bad golf. Okay, I'm just going to tell you. And if we're going to compete, we are going to compete at the highest level we know how. So practice was always run. How D1 schools do it. Okay. I wasn't able to recruit the top players in the world because we're at a junior college. But I eventually figured out how to combine talent, academics, and how to sell Seminole State. So you've got to have some good players. But I made investments right away in technology. I brought friends in to talk to my players. We trained mentally, we trained physically. TPI training physically is a big deal. So right from the get-go, we established a reputation for working very hard.
Yeah.
And having high expectations. And it took a while for us to start winning. Our first tournament win was at Florida Southern's event, and that was in, oh my goodness, I think 2009. So we started winning actually tournaments, but it wasn't until 2015 that we won a national championship. And beating Daytona State, who runs a great program. She has beat me at the recruiting game my entire career, okay? They are ahead of us in terms of money and dorms and facilities and things like that. But I slowly caught up in terms of practice facilities. And to me, we have the best program in the country. I still don't always get the best players, but what we do is create the best players.
There you go, development.
And that's where my forte is developing these kids. So who I go after, the kids who want to work.
No, that's awesome to hear, but we're gonna jump into a quick commercial break, and then, we'll be right back.
Looking for real adventures in Central Florida that you don't have to wait 4 hours in line for? Do Orlando North.
Explore the magic of nature that the theme parks just can't touch with the ONSC podcast.
And we're back from that long commercial break. So I wanted to ask you, since you've been playing golf, how have you seen the game evolve over the years?
There's a few different answers for that. First of all, Tiger Woods made golf cool for both men and women. So some really good athletes have started playing golf. A lot of bigger athletes too. So power is a much greater part of the game than it ever used to be. The equipment changes, especially with the golf ball. The golf ball doesn't curve as much as it used to. So that's another way that the game has changed. Education, teaching. There's so much science now. So much more that we know about the body and how we use the ground and forces and how they all come together. The way that is being taught is absolutely amazing. TrackMan, Body Track, a lot of those tools that have been all the science and how we can explain ball flight and impact and all that kind of stuff has translated into kids really getting good fast.
Okay.
I can't believe some of the scores I'm seeing with 13, 14-year-olds. We played golf at Rio Pinar with this young 14-year-old young lady, and I couldn't believe how this kid swung the golf club. And she's been working with Peter Baker over at Rio Pinar, who we have the wonderful opportunity to spend time with, as well as all the teachers over at the Bender Academy. So I'm very blessed, and so are my kids. I couldn't believe how good this kid was already at 14. It just, wow.
Yeah.
You know, so because, you know, I watch it all the time. I go to tournaments and recruit and all that, but just talking to this kid and how much on the ball she was about what her body does and what she's working on. So all these things coming together on top of, say, Repak turning on golf in Korea, and all these little girls watching Seiri Pak win the US Open. That has provided oodles of competition, and golf has become a world sport now, not just an American or European sport. So all of these things coming together have just made the scores go down. Like the scores we're shooting now are mediocre scores, or would have been good scores 10 years ago.
So I wanted to kind of shift away from golf a little bit and talk about Seminole County, since, you know, this is our favorite, you know, county in Florida and in the US. What are some of the places you enjoy going to in Seminole County? Or, you know, it could be trails, could be maybe your favorite restaurant, or, you know, your favorite city to just explore? Well,
we live in Sanford, and we've been here 3 years now, even though I've worked in Sanford Lake Mary forever. So we spend a lot of time in downtown Sanford. If we have a place to go, that's what we do. Yep. We try to do a new restaurant every single time.
Do you have a favorite one right now? Or?
Well, Buster's has been really supportive of a lot of the things that my wife and I are into. So, yeah, but the whole downtown is just a great vibe. And to be honest, I need to do more of it. I am a bit of a workaholic. So I need to get out a little bit more. So, but we have 4 dogs. So I like spending time in my yard and at home and getting quiet. But yeah, we do take, and I forget the name of this trail, but when we want to take Mesa for an afternoon, it's over off Markham Woods Road. Do you
Okay.
know the name of that trail? Is it Black Bear? Yes, we take Mesa out there probably once a month.
Okay.
So
Get some exercise.
yes, yeah. But the Lake Mary market in the morning, get there probably once a month. So yeah.
Farmers market.
Yes,
Yeah.
the farmers
You
market.
can't go wrong with farmers
No, we
market.
But yeah, that keeps us knowing what's going on in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I guess we'll kind of sign off here, but want to ask you one last thing. What's something you'd like to leave our listeners with? A piece of advice or anything.
If it's golf advice and you're new to the game, invest in some golf lessons. I promise you, if you understand a little bit more about your body and what the golf swing is supposed to be doing, you'll have a lot more fun playing on the golf course. Spend time at a place like Topgolf and, get active with your friends and family. But golf is a sport of a lifetime. It shows many people's true colors, so it's a fast way. It's a great first date. Do more golf, man.
Just do more golf. That's it. Do more golf.
Do more golf.
Hey, Coach Teno, it was a pleasure having you on.
You're
it's always
awesome.
a pleasure to see you.
I love being with you.
We love being with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure. And for everyone watching, make sure to follow us, subscribe, Do Orlando North on YouTube, Instagram, and we'll see you again.
If you're looking to learn more about what's going on in Orlando North, Seminole County, make sure you follow us at Do Orlando North.
Tag us on social media at Do Orlando North for a chance to be featured on our page. The ONSC podcast you just heard reflects the opinions of only the host and guests who are associated persons of Orlando North Seminole County and does not reflect the views of Seminole County government. The ONSC podcast is for informational purposes only. For more information on Orlando North Seminole County, follow us on social media at Do Orlando North or visit our website at www.doorlandonorth.com.